There's a small green plant growing across Asia that many people pass without noticing. It creeps close to the ground. It sends out runners like mint. Its leaves look almost like tiny lily pads, round, soft, and scalloped at the edges. In some places, it grows beside rice fields. In others, it sits in clay pots near kitchen doors. And for centuries, families have used it for the same reason modern beauty companies now build entire product lines around it. This plant does not give your skin collagen from the outside. That is not how skin works. Instead, its natural compounds help support the cells that build the skin's own structure. In plain language, it encourages the body to repair, calm, and renew itself. And here is the strange part. Many people in the West have already paid for this plant without knowing its real name. They have seen it on Korean skincare labels. They have walked past it in beauty stores. They have used creams marked with one short word, CICA, without realizing CICA is not a mysterious laboratory invention. It comes from a living plant that can grow in a pot. Before we go deeper, if you want to discover what the longest living people on Earth grow, cook, and eat in the blue zones, take a look at Botanical Vault. These are the old food and plant traditions that rarely appear in glossy wellness advertising, but they have shaped real lives for generations. Now imagine Bangkok early in the morning. The street is still humid from the night air. Food carts are opening. Steam rises from pots of rice soup, ginger broth, and herbal tea. In a small neighborhood market, bundles of fresh green leaves are stacked beside lemongrass, galangal, turmeric, and basil. Thai grandmothers know exactly what they are buying. They call it bua bok. Some drink it as a cool green juice. Some brew it into tea. Some crush the leaves and apply them to irritated skin. To them, this is not a new beauty trend. It is household knowledge. It belongs to the same world as soup, tea, home remedies, and plants grown beside the doorway. Now fly to Seoul. Walk into a bright Olive Young store on a busy shopping street. Look carefully at the shelves. You will see calming creams, barrier repair serums, sheet masks, ampules, and moisturizers built around CICA. The packaging is usually green. The promise is usually soothing, repairing, and strengthening. Young shoppers see it as skincare. Their grandmothers might recognize the plant behind the product as old medicine. Travel again, this time to Sri Lanka. In many homes, children begin the day with kola kanda, a green herbal rice porridge. Fresh leaves are blended with coconut milk or herbal liquid, then mixed into rice until breakfast becomes something nourishing, earthy, and deeply traditional. For those families, the plant is not locked inside a luxury serum. It is food. In India, it has been used in Ayurveda for generations under names such as mandukaparni, or sometimes associated with Brahmi in local usage, though names vary by region. In China, it is known as ji sue kao. In Korea, it is byeongpul, often translated as soldier grass. In the West, some people know it as gotu kola. Beauty brands call it CICA. Botanists call it Centella asiatica, one plant. Many names. That is part of why the world missed it. Retinol had one powerful advantage. It had a single name, a clear identity, and decades of dermatology marketing behind it. Vitamin C, hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, peptides, each became easy to package, recommend, and sell. Centella asiatica never entered Western beauty culture that way. Every country had its own word for it. Every tradition used it slightly differently. The knowledge was scattered across languages, kitchens, clinics, and markets. So Western shoppers did not see one famous plant. They saw fragments, a Thai herb, a Korean ingredient, an Ayurvedic leaf, a Chinese medicinal plant, a Sri Lankan breakfast green, a French wound healing extract. The story was there, but no one had stitched it together. And yet the history is remarkable. Traditional healers across Asia used centella for wounds, burns, scars, and inflamed skin. In folklore, it earned the name tiger grass because people observed injured tigers rolling in patches of the plant. Whether every detail of that story can be proven is not the point. The point is that human communities noticed the same pattern again and again. This plant was associated with recovery. Modern science now helps explain why. Centella asiatica contains several important triterpenes, including asiaticoside, madecassoside, asiatic acid, and madecassic acid. These are not marketing words. They are natural compounds studied for their effects on inflammation, wound healing, collagen formation, and skin barrier support. The most interesting part is how they appear to interact with fibroblasts, the cells in your skin that help produce collagen and other structural proteins. Think of fibroblasts as the quiet builders under the surface. When you are young, they work quickly. Your skin feels firm, smooth, and resilient. As you age, their activity slows. Sun exposure, pollution, stress, poor sleep, and inflammation all add pressure. Collagen breaks down faster than the body replaces it. That is when fine lines, roughness, sagging, and slow healing begin to appear. Most skincare tries to attack this problem from the outside. Add moisture, exfoliate, stimulate turnover, protect from the sun. These steps can help. But Centella's appeal is different. It is gentle, traditional, and biologically interesting because it supports the skin's own repair environment. That does not mean rubbing a leaf on your face will magically erase decades of aging. Honest skincare never works like that. But it does mean this plant deserves respect. Reviews and human studies suggest centella-based formulations can help improve hydration, elasticity, redness, roughness, and barrier comfort, especially when properly prepared and used consistently. Now compare that with retinol. Retinol is one of the most famous anti-aging ingredients in Western skincare, and for good reason. It can improve the appearance of wrinkles, texture, and uneven tone. But almost everyone who has tried retinol knows the other side of the story. Dryness, peeling, stinging, redness, a burning feeling around the mouth or nose, increased sensitivity to sunlight, weeks of slow adjustment before the skin tolerates it. The beauty industry solved that problem in a very profitable way. It sold retinol, then sold barrier creams to repair the irritation. It sold exfoliation, then sold calming masks. It sold stronger actives, then sold recovery serums. The bathroom shelf became a cycle. One product to create change, another product to calm the damage, another product to rebuild what was weakened. Centella fits into the story differently. It is not famous because it burns. It is famous because it calms. It doesn't need to be presented as an aggressive transformation ingredient. Its strength is steady support, soothing visible redness, helping the barrier feel stronger, and supporting the skin's repair process over time. That is exactly why it became so important in Korean skincare. K-beauty grew partly by giving people products that felt effective without making the skin feel punished. Instead of celebrating irritation as proof that something was working, Korean routines often emphasized hydration, barrier support, and consistency. Centella fit perfectly into that philosophy. But there is a larger reason Western consumers were never told to grow it. The skincare market rewards ingredients that can be controlled. A company can patent a delivery system. It can brand a stabilized formula. It can create a premium bottle, a clinical-sounding complex, a time-release version, a night version, an eye version, a stronger version, and a sensitive skin version. Each version becomes another product. Each product becomes another sale. A plant growing in a pot does not behave that way. Centella spreads by runners. Once it is happy, it keeps moving. A small starter plant can fill a shallow container in a few months. The leaves can be harvested again and again. You can divide the plant, give pieces to friends, and keep the cycle going. That is wonderful for households. It is less wonderful for companies that depend on repeat purchases. This is not a secret conspiracy. It is simpler than that. Markets amplify what markets can sell. Research follows funding. Advertising follows profit. Ingredients that fit into bottles become famous. Plants that grow too easily often stay invisible. So let us talk about how to grow it. Centella asiatica prefers warmth, moisture, and gentle light. In nature, it often appears in damp places, near streams, wetlands, rice paddies, ponds, and shaded tropical ground. It does not want to be baked dry like a desert herb. It wants consistent moisture and protection from harsh afternoon sun. In warm climates, it can grow outdoors. In colder regions, it is better treated as a container plant that comes indoors when the weather turns cold. Start with a wide, shallow pot. 8 to 10 inches across is enough for a beginning plant, but wider is better because Centella likes to spread sideways. Use a good potting mix that holds moisture but still drains. Place the pot where it receives bright indirect light or partial shade. A kitchen windowsill, a shaded balcony, or a bathroom shelf with natural light can work well. Keep the soil evenly moist, not swampy, not bone dry. If the leaves wilt, the plant is telling you it needs water. If the soil stays sour and soggy, it needs better drainage. Once it settles in, you will see new runners stretching across the surface like thin green threads searching for room. In week 1, it may look unimpressive, just a few small round leaves. By week 4, it begins to reach outward. By week 8, it may cover much of the pot. By week 12, if conditions are right, you can harvest small amounts regularly without weakening the plant. Harvesting is simple. Snip a few leaves with clean scissors, or pinch stems gently with your fingers. Never strip the whole plant bare. Take a little, let it regrow, and treat it like a living pantry. For food, Centella can be used in simple ways. In Sri Lankan-style porridge, it gives a fresh green flavor. In Southeast Asian kitchens, it can appear in salads, soups, juices, and herbal drinks. The taste is mild, grassy, slightly bitter, and refreshing. Many traditional foods use bitter greens, not because they taste like candy, but because they wake up the palate and make a meal feel clean. For skincare, be careful and practical. Fresh leaves are not the same as a lab-tested cosmetic product. Always wash them well. Always patch test on a small area first. Do not apply homemade plant paste to deep, infected, or serious wounds. If you have very sensitive skin, allergies, pregnancy concerns, liver problems, or take medication, use common sense and ask a qualified professional before using herbs internally. That said, simple topical uses are part of the reason this plant survived in households for so long. Some people crush clean, fresh leaves with a little water to make a short contact mask. Some steep dried or fresh leaves into a strong tea, let it cool, and use it as a rinse. Some infuse clean dried leaves in oil, then strain it carefully. Others blend a small amount with aloe vera gel for a soothing feel. The larger lesson is not that everyone should throw away every skincare product. Sunscreen still matters. Cleansing still matters. Dermatology still matters. Severe skin conditions need medical care. The lesson is that not every powerful beauty ingredient begins in a laboratory. Some begin in markets, kitchens, and gardens. For decades, Western beauty taught people to look upward toward experts, brands, and expensive counters. Centella asks you to look downward, toward a creeping plant at soil level. It is humble. It is quiet. It does not look like luxury. But in Bangkok, Seoul, Kerala, Sri Lanka, and many other places, It has carried a reputation that no advertising campaign invented. The next time you see the word CICA on a green bottle, remember what it really means. Behind that polished label is Centella asiatica, a plant with many names and one long memory. It is not just an ingredient. It is a bridge between ancestral knowledge and modern skin science. And perhaps the most powerful part is this: you do not have to wait for a company to explain it to you. You can learn the plant. You can grow it. You can watch it spread. You can harvest it with your own hands. A small pot on a windowsill will not replace every product in your bathroom, but it can change the way you think about beauty. Because sometimes the most valuable thing on the shelf is not the bottle with the highest price. Sometimes it is the living green leaf growing quietly beside it. And if you want to keep learning about the plants, foods, and old traditions connected to long life, go visit Botanical Vault. There are still many forgotten secrets waiting in the soil.